Hey there everybody, Brian here. In this video I want to show you this car here. This is 2019 and this is Honda Civic and it's a 1.5. It's an automatic version and it's 182 horsepower VTEC turbo. It's what's called an S design. In this video we're going to go for a drive in the car and we're going to look around the features on the inside and the outside, and then hopefully by the end of the video you'll have a better idea of what this car is all about. If you're in Ireland and you are considering buying this car, 086 843 1945, and I'll go through information on the car, trading in, financing, whatever you want to know. Or if you're just watching on YouTube and you want more information, I've lots of videos about these cars, but if there's something specific that you do want to know, just let me know in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer the question. Anyway, let's have a look around some of the features on the outside of the car. So for me, when these cars came out, the styling was the big thing. We had Honda Civics before that, which were the previous generation, and they came in 1.4 petrol, but they all look pretty much the same. And then this 1.5, well, this shape came out first, which I thought was awesome looking because it was so aggressive. But then we also started getting this 1.5, which is 182 horsepower. And in my head at the time, we hadn't really been used to selling kind of, it's not a hot hatch, but it's kind of a warm hatch in terms of power. Good running costs, but still actually quick. We never had anything like that. And you know, the car was more expensive than the previous Civic. I wasn't really sure how many people were going to uptake it. I loved it, but I just wasn't sure what market was there, but I was totally wrong, because the car totally took off, which was great. Now I have to say, I was really big time into them as well. And I think that helped, and we probably sold more than the average Honda dealer in terms of 1.5s. And I think some of that's probably down to just, I really understood the car. It was something that I was into. And I think people could tell that when they came to buy the car as well. So they were kind of like-minded. They were into it in the same way I was. I liked the fact that it was, you know, it had some nice extras over the 1 litre version. The most significant thing being this exhaust. So the exhaust actually does make a little bit of noise, but nothing too loud. It's got a nice shape. When you're behind the car, obviously it centers it up. So on a normal Civic, say the likes of this 1 litre one here, it doesn't have any extra skirting down the sides, and the rear has a blank. Whereas with this one here then, it had the nice skirting, which is gloss black all the way up along to make space for the exhaust. And then if you move down the side of the car then, it also had side skirts all the way down the side, bringing it a little bit closer to the ground and making it more aggressive looking. And then it also had front skirts on the edges. So again, just making the car look a little bit more aggressive. Nothing too fancy, just something a little bit more aggressive. The other thing I also liked on these was they had light washers, and at the time when they came out, they had LED headlights, which the 1 litre counterparts didn't have. And the fog lights were also LED. And actually the indicators were LED, so these big long LEDs, just makes it more classy and upmarket looking. So dipped headlights in through here, full headlights, if I turned them on, they'd be the same. And then the fog light in through there as well became an LED, so it was really nice. Red was actually one of the more popular colours in them, so it was kind of the halo colour. When they came out, all the brochures showed a red car. And I can see why, like I really liked white ones at the start, but the red sort of, red Honda Civics over the years have always been a kind of thing anyway. So it is a colour that sold really well for us. This car has one extra that they wouldn't normally have. It is a genuine wheel. It's a Kratos wheel, so it's an 18-inch wheel. So the 1.5, like this one here in manual, normally came with a 17-inch alloy wheel, which was this diamond cut wheel here. Whereas this one then came with this Kratos, which was the 18-inch wheel. Now, on that wheel, one point of note, so sometimes you'll see people that maybe modify a car, or sometimes they get a tape that goes all the way around the wheel. This is not a tape. So when you look at it up close, this is not a stuck-on tape. This is actually part of the diamond cutting in it. So diamond cut wheel along here, darker grey spokes in through there, and then you have the red outline all the way around there. And on this car is that rally red colour. It actually works. So it's a really nice kind of fat looking wheel. And when you're looking down the side of the car then, in my opinion, it kind of fills out the arches to the edge really nicely. And the tyres become a 235, so they're a wider tyre than what you'd normally have on a Honda Civic. So again, just makes it look a little bit fatter, a little bit more sporty in my opinion. The engine on these cars then, we'll see when we go for a drive, that is a 1.5, 182 horsepower. One thing I really liked on them was there was good power in them. There's a nice hum off the exhaust, but actually super economical, like in a weird way. And I have no reason to give you the sales pitch, but there was a diesel version. This actually wasn't too far off the diesel. If you drove it right, it kind of just, it's hard to describe. There was just kind of, once you got going, there's good momentum on them. So they kind of, you just had to coax the accelerator along. They just had a really unusually decent level of fuel efficiency that I wouldn't have expected from kind of a more powerful version. It may seem a bit louder just because we're inside in the showroom, but I like the fact that just a little bit of condensation comes out of the exhaust, so you can see it's fully functional. But there's a nice hum, which means it makes you feel like you're in a car that's just a little bit more special than a normal car. Anyway, let's get the car in the showroom and we'll go for a quick drive. Driving the car, so like it's an automatic car, so it's really nice and relaxed. I like the way the screen is just over here. It's kind of still, you know, reasonably accessible where it is, but because it's an automatic car, I really like the manual when it came out, but I am kind of coming out to the idea that 90% of the time I won't be driving like a lunatic, and not that I ever drive like a lunatic, but it just, cruising is kind of good. You see the trip information in here, you can change that using the steering wheel. My favourite one is the boost gauge, so you go all the way around here and it tells you what the turbocharger's at, so kind of like that because I am a bit of an idiot. The gearbox, if you watch here, if I pull this back into S, look at the engine revolutions, they kind of pop up a bit higher, so the car is more primed, and if I go back into D, they relax down, and basically the car will be less primed for overtaking. You have the paddles then on the left to go back up the gears, like as in 3, 2, 1, or the right paddle to go 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 7 simulated gears, so they're not gears, it is a CVT gearbox, but it makes it much more enjoyable. A CVT normally gives you the exact engine revolution, but there's less driving pleasure. But what you find when you have these kind of simulated gears feels more like gears changing, and that's much more engaging. And they only do that to increase driving pleasure. Like, they don't have to. It's more efficient without it. But actually, one thing about the that kind of setup, the car tends to run with this simulated 7th gear. On the motorway, it actually runs lower RPMs. So it goes as far as saying the automatic is probably easier on fuel than the manual. In terms of power, it's 182 horsepower. I think it's about 240 newton meters of torque. Then you can see the kind of simulated gear. Now I'm using the paddles, but I would have done it, and I did it a little bit early because we're in a built up area, so I don't want to be speeding. But come try the car yourself, drive it yourself, see what you think. But I really enjoy driving it. So the drive's good. There's a service history through Honda. Oops, where's it gone? So there's these are more recent services. So it's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 services. There's about 86,000 kilometers in the car. 4 new tires. It needs to go through an NCT, which we'll sort out. So just a bit better lighting on the outside. I just like the way they drive. Like, and for value for money, like if you go to buy a new Honda Civic these days, a new Honda Civic is 50 grand. Now, fair enough, it's hybrid, and it probably has, you know, leather and a lot more stuff on it that way, but I don't know, I think these are good at value for money. Like, I remember before with the VTIs, I had loads of them years ago. They were the 160 horsepower, not like a Type R, but, you know, kind of a warm hatch in between. And then the Type S came out afterwards. Not as exciting a car, to be perfectly straight. It was 1.8 R series engine, it was okay, but this one then, shape came right, the engine came right. You know, like I was saying to you, it's not the high revving engine like it used to be anymore. It's the more turbocharged engine, but nice little hum off the exhaust and stuff like that. Anyway, in terms of the inside, we've had 4 Honda Civics at home. Unfortunately, all 1 litres, not 1.5s. I wish we had, but my partner, she's not really into cars, so she just kind of 1 litre is fine. But the main thing is we wanted a big boot with buggy and stuff like that, and Civic was the best hatchback at the time. And then when you drop down the seat, you get this massive load area. There will be a reverse camera up through there. I'm going to change that badge. That badge there, I'm going to put the normal badge. There's a red badge at the front, but I kind of prefer the silver because it's a red car, so it doesn't need a red badge in the rear. So I actually have another one of them on order. I'm a bit weird that way in some ways. I like things. Little bits of carbon fibre along here, electric windows, tweeter, speaker, 3 head restraints, 3 3-point safety belts, armrest, Isofix, and then if you're a 6-foot person sitting in the back behind another 6-foot person, that's the headroom, that's the legroom. A lot of black in here, and that's usually what you'll find on kind of sportier cars. Black headlinings just tends to be a bit more sporty. Let's have a look at the front. One other neat thing, people never use them, coat hook, just if you have a jacket or whatever. Anyway, it's only a small thing. Right, up front, electrics for windows, more kind of carbon fibering, brushed aluminium. The lights and all that kind of stuff, so if you leave the lights on an automatic timer, so after you can set it, like I think this one's probably set to about 15 seconds, but you can set it for longer or less or whatever, but eventually they will turn off. And what will happen then, say for example I lock the car, those wheels look really well just from that angle. They really fatten up the arches. Anyway, that's for me because I'm not as used to them. Okay, this person obviously had it on a much longer timer, maybe up to a minute. This car, just while we're waiting, the history on this car: first owner, Universal Honda in Dublin, who owned Honda Ireland, who are actually Honda Ireland. Second owner was a local guy who then traded this 19 for a 20, the exact same colour, slightly different specification. And then the next owner after him, he has come back to us and traded for a Honda CR-V. He's just at that point where he reckons, look, it's a bit too low, I want something a little bit higher off the ground, which is a common thing these days. So I'll unlock the car, lights come back on, and then similarly, if I use things like I can drop the windows, or similarly I can raise the windows but also retract the wing mirrors as well. The wing mirrors are also black mirror caps, which goes well with everything else in the car because there's so much gloss black all the way around it and even around the windows and all that stuff, so it makes total sense from that point of view. In terms of the seat, height adjustable, lumbar support for lower back, rake reach steering, so going up and out and in and out and up and down. Like we said, tweeter and speaker over here. There's lots of safety on these. These are, you'll see in a lot of modern cars now, it's become standard. Aluminium pedals, sorry, that needs to be clean, that's for my feet, and there's mats probably to go in it as well. So like you're saying, the trip computer in here, the cruise control is adaptive, so it would follow the car in front. If they slow down, you slow down. Lane keep assist to stop you drifting out of lane, but also another one that kind of keeps you dead center on the lanes. Bluetooth and radio controls over through here. Lights are automatic, so they dip when they meet traffic. Wipers come on when it rains. Navigation, but most people will probably just end up using smartphone connection for Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, which is Google Maps, Spotify, Audible, all those kind of things. Dual zone climate control, touch and swipe, and then like we said, front and rear park sensors with reverse camera and different settings on that. USB, HDMI, all in down through there. Gearbox obviously we talked about, handbrake, eco if you want to reduce how aggressive it is. Double drinks holder, USB connector. What I mean by double drinks holder is that comes out and turns around and you end up with 2 drinks holders then. So anyway, there you have it. Hopefully you like the car. If there's information you want, 086 843 1945, call, text, WhatsApp. Scrapping car, trading in car, financing, but the car itself, give me a shout. Hopefully the video is useful, hopefully you like the car. Thanks for watching.